Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Wow, they got into it real. That's a new record for the fastest your cats contributed to the show. I didn't think we'd ever break the record, but we did.
You want to
It's an unbreakable record. That's like a 99-yard rushing touchdown. It's a record that can't be broken out of the gate. So you know what? What a baller I am, right, Soto? I only hang out at the finest champagne and caviar establishments. Bumping elbows.
You only drink the finest of breast milks.
Give me some fine Cambodian breast milk. Give me a sugar cookie. So it's not that big of a surprise that I bump into, billionaires and heads of state and important people. So look who I saw at dinner last night, Soto. Mark Davis. Was that a random
Mark Davis
Cajun restaurant? You tell me that's not Mark Davis. You give me one piece of evidence that says that's not Mark Davis hanging out at a Cajun restaurant in Huntington Beach, California.
All old white guys look the same.
Dude, tell me that doesn't look just like him.
It doesn't look like him at all.
He even has like the dumb, I'm confused face.
Is he wearing a hearing aid?
I think it's just his hair. Tell me that doesn't look like Mark Davis. I don't think
Mark Davis's hair is that long in the back.
I think if Mark Davis had not a meth problem, but a meth.
Oh, this guy is a fifth a jack a day guy.
Yeah, dude, that's a body ravaged by drinking for sure.
He looks like he got punched in the face, but he hasn't been punched in the face in quite some time.
It's like he got punched in the face, but he's been punched in the face so long that getting punched in the face doesn't look like he's punched in the face.
It just looks normal.
I'm telling you.
Look,
okay.
God bless him. I'm sure he's a lovely gentleman. I'm sure he's kind to animals, and he has just a slight porn addiction. It's not very bad.
Does Al Davis have any other sons? He's got.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has any other kids.
Guys like Al Davis has got to have some kids that we don't know about.
He's got some floaters around there somewhere. I bet.
Did he hang out in Huntington Beach, California ever at all? Because I think I found Mark's brother.
I don't know, man. Where was this?
On beach. This restaurant called what's it called? Row or something? This place was completely empty. It was just me, the wife, and one other dude. And this guy. And this guy shows up.
I could tell by the decor. The place is popping.
You're right. we had fast service. I'll say that much.
The guy spun around that freaking ticket, the same ticket in the wheels. You're next.
I'm just saying, Al Davis. I don't know. Didn't pull
out. That was Al Davis.
Some cocktail server in the 1940s on Beach Boulevard, Huntington Beach. He got lucky, bounced, never heard from again. You're telling me that's not the end result? I'm just saying.
I mean, did Al Davis ever go to Beach Babes on beach?
Right, of all the places, Bikini Girls, California Girls, possibilities are endless.
Beach Boulevard and Huntington Beach. It seems like it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Well, emphasis on the crack. There's a lot of that. But it's not like, Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. Wow, it's a bunch of surf. No, it's not that.
No, it's car dealership, strip club, car dealership, Jack Shack, car dealership, bikini bar, car dealership. He's probably selling used cars.
Behind every single gas station is a crack station.
So question of the day. We don't do this, haven't done this in a while, but it bears time to do it. We are, by the time you guys are watching this, we might be at 10,000 subscriptions. Yay to us. Woo, celebrate. We're pre-celebrating, right? Pre-cell ejaculation. So what should we do at 10,000 subs? Everybody, this is a very large milestone. We're very proud of this work we've done. We skyrocketed to 9,000 and then it took a year to get to 10.
It was a year and change to get to that.
It's just that last thou took forever, but we're almost there, right? We're just a couple away. Again, by the time you're listening to this, we might already be there. What should we do?
Yeah, if you're listening right now and you haven't subscribed yet, just go ahead and do it. If this is not the first time that you've listened to this show, you just subscribe. Quit messing around.
You could be the 10,000th subscriber, and that's something you can tell your grandkids when you're on your deathbed. Be a really big deal. So
you remember when McDonald's had that? Maybe you weren't old enough, but they had the 1 millionth person served?
I don't think you were old enough for 1 million served. It had to have been billionth or 10 billionth or 100 billionth. They got to a million before our time.
I don't remember. I was a young whippersnapper. Or was it Burger King? No, Burger King was Ned. Like you had to spot a guy, a random dude in a Burger King, and you win like some kind of money or something like that.
Cool story.
I mean, that's what it was. He was actually in WrestleMania too. One of the celebrities, you know. Hey, from Burger King, Ned. And he's just like,
everyone loses their shit.
Everyone's
That's who they got at WrestleMania. Now it's like The Rock, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. WrestleMania 2, it's like the dude from the Burger King marketing.
Well, they had the Where's the Beef lady too.
Just a battle of the burger chain.
Joan Rivers was there. Yeah. Who else was there?
Let us know. Comment section. What should we do at 10,000 subscriptions? Live show at a bar somewhere. Soda does a strip dance. I mean, the possibilities
maybe
are endless. Where I mean,
I've been in contact with a gentleman from Huntington Beach who runs an establishment out there. We can do a live show.
Now, when you say establishment, that normally means a specific form of establishment.
Well, there's a couple of those we can go to too, but this is an actual like family establishment.
Okay. Let us know.
You know the guy.
Guys. You guys are part of the team. Settle up. So Josh Jacobs had himself a pretty good season last season. Wish him well, right? As long as we don't play him, more or less. Hope he does well. He fucking carried our run game from while he was here, and Lord knows we know how bad it is without him. So he went on Busting with the Boys and talked a lot of Raiders stuff. I think this is what's most apropos to the Raiders right this second. Like, we don't need to dig up like all the shit, right? It's like we've moved on from Josh.
Has Josh moved on?
Well, he was asked, and I'm glad he did, because more to me, it's understanding just how fucking atrocious that last regime was. How bad was
that regime?
And not the Antonio Pierce Telesco, the one before that, the Josh McDaniels, Ziegler, just like every time anything comes out of that regime, it just makes them look terrible.
Even worse and worse.
Just worse and worse and worse. Here's a lady.
Before I came, when they were trying to get me to come sign, you got the deadline, right? The signing deadline. And before I came to sign, me and Max on the phone. Max trying to make it work. Like obviously Max is a dude. He like, man, like I don't understand it. Like whatever. He was like, man, please just come. So we come up there, and we got like an hour left before we got to sign the paper or on a deal or not. And dude comes up to my car. Me and Max is in the car. Max in the car with me. We sitting, and he's talking to us. But while on his phone, he's moving his phone around. He's on the phone with an interviewer, with a reporter. Literally on the phone with a reporter while he's talking to me.
Trying to get conversation out of you.
Bro, so anytime that I know it's one reporter over there, that anytime he had anything to say, and they'd be like, where are people getting this information from? I'm like, it's coming from them.
So the motherfucker, whoever it is, so Josh Jacobs doesn't say exactly who it is. He doesn't say the reporter. But the dude, whilst you're in negotiations with your star running back, who's in the same car with your star defensive end, literally the heart and soul of your team is in this car.
Who's trying to help you out, who's trying to get you to get the deal done.
Like Max is on management side, right? The heart and soul of your team is in what I'm sure some $250,000 sports car, and you come strolling up with your iPhone on speaker, and they can see who you're talking to try to get something like off the record, like some shady fucking shit of like trying to go to your ex-girlfriend's best friend to try to see if she can get her to talk shit on her friend without her knowing. Like we saw the high school bullshit that Ziegler and JMD did, but it's like, dude, like the more we hear about it, the more it's just like, no wonder we fucking sucked. The entire regime was busy doing a high school mean girls bullshit.
I mean, it smelled a lot like a guy. I'm not going to say his name because that would be unprofessional, but it rhymes with Schmondo Schmarpender. I'm not sure.
I
don't know for sure.
I don't honestly. I'll say this: I don't think it's local. I think it's national. I think it's like when it comes from the team, it's normally national, not the local. You could be 100% right. It definitely could be.
It just sounds like something that would happen like that. But I will say this: how many people were alienated? Now I'm willing to give Tom Telesco a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that Josh Jacobs even gave him a shot to re-sign him. I think he just said, I'm out of here. Bye, later. But, I mean, the whole John Simpson thing, where he was a starter and then he was on the bench and then the next week he was released.
The bullshit where Josh McDaniels tried to like lure Farva into his beef with Derek Carr by giving Aiden O'Connell number 4.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't choose that number. They gave it.
I didn't ask for that. Like, why would you do that? It's like, oh, it's just Josh McDaniels trying to like spit on the jersey of Derek Carr by giving it to some 4th round rookie. It's like no one gave a shit about that.
Derek Carr's doing a good enough job of that on his own. He doesn't need any help.
It's like
Josh McDaniels.
Like that's what you do with your time, Josh McDaniels. Like that's like the energy and calories you're putting into is middle school shit. It's like no wonder he fucking sucks.
What an idiot!
No wonder everyone hates him.
What an idiot! And I try to hold back the crowd against this guy until we actually saw a good amount of games on the field, and he just ended up burning himself. And he burned himself. He pissed on it. He's pissed on his own ashes, and he stomped on his own ashes. It's just he did it all himself. He did it all himself.
And he's the dude from the regime who's like, hey, it's just all about football, guys. I want football, guys. I want you focused, practiced about football. It's all about football. And then he's the one doing fucking jackass high school shit.
So stupid.
Remember this? Tom Pelissero tweeted, how close was Josh Jacobs to signing an extension with the Raiders? He was sitting in the car in the parking lot of the Raiders facility with teammate Max Crosby at the deadline, ready to sign if it got done. It didn't. Now it's unclear when the Richard Chairman will return. Bet you it was Tom.
It is Tom Pelissero.
I bet you it was Tom Pelissero. I mean, he could have gotten that after the fact potentially, but again, when it's the team, I think it's national, right? Josh McDaniels been jumping around, right? He's been around. It's not like he'd been in the national spotlight longer than he'd been in the Vegas. Like he has relationships nationally quicker than he had relationships local. You could be totally right, dude. It could easily be Hondo for sure.
I was just trying to be funny. I have no idea.
No, I think it's Tom. I think it's Tom Pelissero. Moving along, we have so much shit to get to today. So if we're flying through, this is what. Speaking of media, Tom Brady was on the Jake Paul podcast, and he went and like this clip made headlines because he like blew up on the media, you know, and so like you watch the media like circle the wagons. It's fun watching like the media when they're like, okay, we all adore Tom Brady, so we don't want to shit on him, but we also want to like de-up on our profession. Mm-hmm. So watching the reaction from media to this clip of Tom has been kind of funny. Like people are just, for the first time ever, the media just like posts it and then doesn't have an opinion and just walks away, you know, because it's Tom and it's against them. So they're kind of neutered a little bit, but it's more what he said at the beginning that I care more about. But take a listen. Tell me what you think.
We're talking about going late in the draft. Elephant in the room, Shaduer Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
I mean, it's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless
see
says
that.
Otherwise.
No. Well, everyone's got every, That's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want and get away with it.
Crazy.
And it's kind of unfortunate because there actually used to be a lot of integrity in media, and there's way less now because everyone needs crazy voices to get heard. And it actually probably hurts a lot of relationships, which is not the goal of, broadcasting. It should be to develop and cultivate and solve problems. And rather than the critiques, I want people to offer solutions all the time.
I thought it was a pretty fair critique by Tom on media. Yeah, people say a lot of shit. It's gonna burn a lot of relationships. Get a couple clicks. How would you offer some solutions? Right? Anyone can complain all day long. This sucks. The coach is dumb. The player didn't do the right thing. It's like, okay, well, let's got a solution, got a plan. Do you want to?
There's no relationship building anymore. No. It's all what can you give me? Like, I mean, I've heard rumors from multiple people that somebody that's pretty famous gives people stock as payment for their information.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, man. And they're just throwing literal shit against the wall to see what sticks and goes viral. Everyone wants to be Stephen A. And it's even Stephen A is a caricature of Stephen A. He's not the same as he was before. He's a caricature. This is why I can't watch that network anymore. It's all it is.
Yeah,
it's all it is. And it's like, I mean, did no one learn from Sam Kinison? Like, he went out there and he was authentically himself, and then he got so big and so wrapped up into it that he became a caricature of himself while he was still alive. And it was terrible. And this is what it is now. It's just a bunch of guys just saying whatever they want to say with nothing to back it up, just to get clicks and to get views. And it's again, like Tom said, there's no integrity. There is none.
I will say this for Sam Kinison. He could pull off a look unlike any other. I mean, look at that.
He looks like the grandma from the Train.
He looks like the grandma from the Goonies.
It's the same girl. It's the same lady.
Same girl.
Who has a bigger mouth? Would you see that? Steven Tyler or Sam Kinison? You see that picture?
Look at that guy.
Look at the bottom. Do you see the bottom left picture?
Oh yeah,
Steven Tyler. Look on that sucker. Jesus. Not a line was unsnorted. Dude, they can bury a first base line, dude. From the home plate to first base, they can just bury that whole thing.
Dude, he would immediately drown if he was thrown in water. Look at this. 4 rings, 7 necklaces. You can come up for air. That's for sure. Man, celebs were a different breed back then. Anyway, way more apropos to what's far more important to us is Tom Brady at the very beginning, when the interviewer's like, "So what happened with Shaduer?" And he's just kind of like, "Well, first off, he's kind of like, I don't know." And then he says, "I wasn't a part of any evaluation process,"
which makes total sense.
Well, it goes exactly contrary to what Spytek and Pete Carroll have been saying.
Not necessarily. Evaluation process is breaking down film and doing stuff. That's evaluating talent. If you ask him, what traits are you looking for? What do you see in this person? What do you see in that person? I don't know that that's a part of the evaluation process. That's just advice. That's just guidance. It's a little bit different.
Well, I think he sounded like he was trying to hide something with the nervous kind of like, to start and not part of any evaluation process.
It could be wordplay by him. It could be wordplay because, hey, I wasn't in the scout room. I wasn't watching tape, so I wasn't a part of the evaluation process. I gave guidance. If I can finish the sentence.
It sounds like he's picking words carefully and still trying to bullshit us. Because we saw Pete Carroll say, we're build this football team up around the quarterback position. We're going to lean on Tom as much as possible. We saw Spytek just told The Athletic when we were looking at quarterback, we'd have to be fools not to involve Tom Brady. So I feel like this is Tom kind of like, hey guys, I'm still a Fox broadcaster and I'm not doing anything. It's like, no,
just
dude,
smart.
Come on. Yeah.
But the thing is like we have to take a look at. I look at what people are incentivized to say or do. What incentive does Pete Carroll have to say that Tom Brady has been a part of the process? None. He doesn't gain or lose anything, right? What incentive does Tom Brady have minimizing his role in any type of selection? Well, there is some, because he's supposed to not be a part of any type of day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and he's
that for where you what you will.
Yeah, it sounds like bullshit from Tom. And
I mean, hey, that's $360 million, bro. I wouldn't mess with that either.
Yeah,
can't blame the dude.
It's just funny how a guy that's like so calm under pressure in the biggest moments in sports still doesn't have this down yet. It's like, are you involved or are you not? Well, I wasn't a part of any evaluation process. You know what I mean? It's like, get your story straight, Tom. You've done this before. Let's figure it out, get your story straight, and then move on. You shouldn't be like, you knew a Shaduer Sanders question was coming. Like you're like, you were as part of this Shaduer Sanders stories. Like Mel Kiper, Shador's number 1, Mel Kiper number 2, and you were number 3 on the Shaduer story. You're ahead of Dion, right? Everyone was over Dion. It's like, well, Tom, like, why didn't the Raiders pick him? Oh my God, Tom must have told him that didn't want him, right? Like Tom was part of the story. It's like, get your story straight, Tommy. Right? Let's not get you in trouble. We need you around here.
Yeah, man. Quit flip-flopping.
So I tweeted, I don't know, maybe it was like 3 or 4 weeks. I was like official that Tom Brady was going to be a minority owner. And we saw it coming. It felt inevitable long before that. And then they made the announcement. The next day he's in this, the headquarters, and they're applauding him. He's walking the front door, all that shit. And a few weeks after that, I tweeted something like, I'm really going to hate Tom Brady if I end up liking Tom Brady. Because it's obviously, if like every Raider fan, I've hated his guts for 2 decades, right? I'm supposed to just like turn this around. It's like, 25-year-old me will be kicking me in the nuts right now for being like, oh, yay, Tom, right? And then I read this story from The Athletic. Really good story. I highly recommend you guys read this. It's a story about Tom Brady and Spytek. So as we all know, Spytek and Tom played football together in Michigan. When I say played, like Spytek was like scout team when Tom Brady was there, right? So we're talking the story about when they're at the Orange Bowl. If not for Brady, Spytek and his teammates would not have been in Miami preparing for the Orange Bowl. Spytek brought his meal back from the buffet at the Eden Rock and sat at a table with other redshirt freshmen who were feeling like him. They looked down at their plates and didn't say much, because these are like scout team freshman guys barely involved. Then someone walked up and put his plate on the white tablecloth. I think I'll have dinner with the Young Bucks tonight, Tom Brady said. Then the team captain and MVP was somehow one of them. For about an hour, Brady talked with the freshmen about nothing and everything, lifting their spirits and making them feel they belonged. It was a small glimpse of who he is, the grace he operates in, Spytek says. He probably doesn't remember it, but the rest of us will never forget it. Now, you hear stories all the time of guys talking about how Tom Brady was the ultimate teammate, right? Like he was a fucking cheater, all those things. But anyone who's ever suited up next to Tom Brady was like, he's the ultimate teammate. Like he's the guy that you would run through a brick wall. Dude, and Antonio Brown, he let him into his house with his wife and kids to live there. Like that's next level teammating, to let that psychopath in the same zip code as anybody with your last name. But Tom Brady's like, nope, ultimate teammate.
To be fair, though, Tom Brady didn't let him use the pool.
That's where he does his worst work.
That's what I hear.
He's like, you know what? You can hose off outside. I don't want you naked inside these doors ever. But this is a story that Spytek remembered from 25 years ago, over 2 decades ago, right? Like, I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning, but Spytek was so moved by that moment. And later on in the story, he talked about how when he was when they were both at Tampa, Spytek was a big part of Tom Brady's like prep. He would do some scouting for him, and sometimes he was right, and it like really stood with him. And he said, after Tom Brady won the Super Bowl with Tampa, they found each other, gave each other a hug, and Spytek's like, hey man, being a part of this is the highlight of my career, right? So, I do hate myself for not hating Tom Brady, but it's with good reason. When we talk about what Tom Brady can bring to the Raiders, there's the cachet of he can make calls that the people can't. Just getting a Ben Johnson interview alone, the Raiders never was even in that realm. We didn't get him, but things like that. But it's this connection to some random scout team freshman from 25 years ago that Tom Brady planted a seed in, giggity, that grew to this now. How many, Soto, Spyteks have there been in the last 25 years where Tom Brady has just been Tom Brady around them, and then they're all just kind of like mesmerized by it and are willing to do things for Tom they wouldn't do for Howie or, whoever else, right? Any other GMs or coaches or owners in the league. That's what we're talking about with Tom Brady's influence. Yes, it's I want this guy as my quarterback. I'm looking for these traits in a thrower. Very tangible X's and O's stuff. But what you and I have always talked about, Soto, is front office, back office, middle office, every office, what Tom Brady can do. And I think this is just another really, really good example of just some freshman on his team, probably didn't know his name, probably didn't remember that thing. But 25 years later, Spytek's like, I'll never forget that moment when touchdown Tommy ate eggs with me.
So, of course, there's the on the field play. And you want to follow a leader like that, a guy who's just a great player who comes up clutch in big moments, right? But the example that Tom Brady sets, being a good teammate and taking the hard coaching and working as hard as he did, that, along with being a good teammate, kind of forces everyone else to be the same. I really do believe that Tom Brady was the quote-unquote Patriot way. Because when Tom Brady left, the whole team fell apart. And it wasn't just because of the quarterback. Mm-hmm. When you get everyone willing to work together on the same page, willing to get criticized in front of everybody else, willing to put the work in, they see that he's there every morning. When they get there, he's already there. When they leave, he's over there, showered and watching film still. That it holds more weight than if he was kind of like aloof, kind of like a Russell Wilson type, mm-hmm. right? But he wasn't. He was a great teammate. Everyone said he's a great teammate. So when the guy that's working the hardest, that's the best player on the team, is also the best guy on the team, everyone else has to catch up to each one of those things. They need to be great guys, they need great teammates, and they need to do what it takes to be a great player. So that example is also what he brings to the Raiders, and in a different way now, because he's not out there breaking down film and stuff like that, but just the way he is with people in the room when he is there, it means something when somebody that has that much of a spotlight on him still acts like he doesn't.
It's like when there's like when there's strong leadership, there's no mob wars. It's when it's kind of gets flustered around is when there's like a gang war. All that shit we're just talking about with Josh McDaniels, like trying to get one over on Carr and like bringing Tom Pelissero or whoever to the car to see if they can like pick up what Josh Jacobs and Max Crosby were saying, like that tiddly middle school bullshit. That wouldn't have flown if Tom Brady's like shadow was over all of that, and it's not that like Tom Brady would like jump out of the trunk of a car next to him and catch him. It'd be like, no, from top down, there's a standard, and this is how we behave because Tom said it and Tom watched it. And, I was a ball boy for the Pats when I was 16, and now I'm an assistant coordinator. And I'll never forget that day that Tom Brady like signed a ball and gave it to me and said, here you go, youngin', go get laid tonight. Use that or whatever, right? Like Tom Brady's been like the Johnny Appleseed of building cachet with people. And now it's all ours. Now it's all ours.
Just to give you another example of that.
By ours, I mean yours and mine. No one else's.
No one else's.
It's just us. Just Soto and RJ.
I was in Hawaii once with a friend of mine. His little sister was a part of this traveling soccer team, and they were playing in Hawaii. So we just tagged along and went. I met Fonzie, Henry Winkler. His daughter was playing in the same tournament. And I'm sitting there, getting a water from the stand. And he comes up. He's like, "Hi, can I get some ice or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, Henry Winkler." And he's like, "Hi, how are you?" He puts his water bottles that he had down to shake my hand with two hands. "Hi, how are you, big guy? How's it going?" And he's small. He's tiny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I never thought I would like a better Henry Winkler character than Fonzie until you were Coach Klein in Waterboy. And I think Coach Klein is a little bit better for me. And he's like, he winks and he's like, "That was a pretty good one, wasn't it?" Just, he didn't have to be nice. He could have just said hello, but you don't fake stuff like that, right? Those little interactions, like I'm still talking about it 20 years later, more than 20 years later, almost 30 years later.
He was on one of my flights a few years ago from JFK to LAX. He was in one of my flights, and he actually sat just a couple rows behind me, him and his wife. And it was hilarious because his wife ran everything. "Hey, go sit there. Hey, bring me this. Make sure you call the car." He's like, "Yes. Okay, babe. Yep. You got it, dear. Okay." And just the most Jewish wife ever, just in charge of everything. But he was pumped on it. Like, I don't want to have to use my brain. This is great. Just like, oh yeah,
I get to
Henry
leave
Winkler.
this too.
Yeah, it's great.
God, man, he was such a cool guy.
So this story made me laugh. So Carl Nassib is known, to Raider fans as the defensive end that was overpaid and underperformed because John Gruden doesn't know how to use a calculator or an Excel spreadsheet. So he was overpaid and not even underproduced. He produced exactly what everyone expected him to do, but he was paid like he was a Pro Bowler.
When Nassib called Gruden and said he was a grinder, that's not what he meant.
He said you could find me on Grindr.
Okay. I set you up so easy for that one.
What was the train wreck?
Teamwork, man. That's teamwork, man. That's how you got to do it.
Was that the movie Trainwreck with John Cena? He's like,
"Yeah,
you're trying to find me with the closest man on Grindr." Gets up and leaves. "I will fuck you." He's like, "Whoa,
beat your dick right now." What?
Watch the movie. It's so funny. The chick is the least funny.
10 minutes. The rest of it stinks, but the first 10 minutes.
The chick in it is the least funny. She's the least funny thing on it. David Tell's character is so good. He's like, "Hey, why are you going in that building? That's not a Planned Parenthood." Anyway, so Carl Nassib to Raiders fans is the guy that was overpaid and underproduced. Carl Nassib to the rest of the NFL is the first openly gay football player, right? And you can it's funny seeing his mannerisms and how he talks now. He's getting more flamboyant and gay and stuff. He's kind of coming out in his mannerisms.
Once the hands start getting more away from the body.
Yeah, they get further away and limper. He's just he just
and the kind
of like when he was trying to shed blocks. You know what I mean? His hands were far away and limp. He wasn't shedding the blocks well. But no, he's a good guy and it's happy. He seems very happy. He's
he does.
Came out.
He does.
I remember he went on Darren Waller's podcast and said he had a boyfriend and all that kind of shit. And it seems like he's in a good place, which is great. But he was on the pivot and had this. I laughed my ass off. Story.
This was 2020. I was on the Raiders and we were playing the Browns. And I think Baker was a quarterback. And he's a very mobile quarterback, but they ran 3 bootlegs away from me. And when you're on the opposite of a bootleg, you got to chase it all the way over there. And they did 3 bootlegs in a row to start the second half. I was so mad. And these are all my former teammates. And so I'm chasing the third one. I said, "Stop the gay-ass bootlegs." The entire Browns O-line turned around at me. "You can't say that." And I was like, oh, man, the league is ready for this. You know what I mean? They are ready for me. We got some allies here. You know what I mean? I was like, this is so funny. The guy that's about to come out saying the word gay, getting shut down by 5 massive dudes.
He's like, no, I'm allowed to say it. I'm allowed. You can say the N-word. I can't. I can say that's a gay-ass bootleg. You can't say it. I laughed so hard when I heard that. Yep. Gay-ass bootlegs. The NFL's really changed, man.
That was hilarious.
O-linemen being no, that is inappropriate language. That is insensitive to the homosexual community. How dare you? You're going to get canceled. And the whole time he's like, guys,
I know
I'm the gay
something
one here.
you don't
Yeah.
know. That was pretty good.
Oh, dude, that was so funny.
I mean,
I always
I would have never guessed that the first person to refer to something as gay ass on this show, I thought it was going to be you for sure.
Mhm.
And it was Carl
Nope.
Nassib.
I saved it for Carl. I saved it for a true Raider.
That means
A gay ass Raider.
It's open game. It's fair game now.
Yeah. I mean, he's a Raider, and he popped the cherry on this show of gay ass. So now we can say gay ass bootlegs, gay ass sweeps.
No.
ISO.
I think every time we see a bootleg, we got to call it that. GAB.
I was gonna say if anyone owns gay ass boots, it'd probably be Carl Nassib. You know,
God damn it!
it'd be him.
We're trying to skate the line, RJ. Okay.
No. You're trying to skate the line. I'm trying to have fun.
I
always like it. Always blew to this day. It still blows me away how
whoa,
small that story was.
What blows you away?
Any young gentleman who buys me a drink. It still to this day blows me away how small that story was. Like it should have been huge, but Carl Nassib purposefully was like, no, I don't want the attention on me. Here's my statement. Here's a foundation that helps young people coming out of closets or dealing with things and, helping to prevent suicide and dealing with their families. Like, I want the attention to be on this thing. And then he was done. And remember, we heard nothing from him till he was on the Darren Waller podcast like 6 months later. And they spent 45 seconds on it. He's just like, yeah, I have a boyfriend now and it's great and blah, blah, blah. They moved and talked about football. And then we've waited 2 years now for him to do another 3 years now to do another interview and talk about it. And now you can tell it's like he's accustomed to it now. He's at the mannerisms and then he's like making jokes about it and stuff now. He's at least seven times a better man than me, dude. Like if I was the gay dude in the NFL, like I came out, like that's opportunity. Like I'd have endorsement deals lined up. I get an agent for a reality show. I do like a dating show on Netflix. Like I have a book deal. Like I try to cash in on it. And Carl fucking Nassib's like, hey guys, I think the NFL's ready for first openly gay football player. Here's my story. Please donate to this foundation that helps kids who need it. It's like, I almost forgive him for sucking up a bunch of cap space and not producing.
Yeah, man. It's just it's a lot. It's freeing, And when you don't have something that's really weighing you down, it's like it's something you can't escape. You have to live this life that's not yours for the majority of almost the entirety of your work life. You have to live this life that's not yours. And for him to have that freedom just to be himself, man, that's great.
Yeah, now he's talking about it. It's good for us.
him.
So real quick, I do want to mention this. It's not so much the signing that's a giant deal, but the Raiders signed Anthony Patch, Howie Roseman at the Eagles GMs is kind of like described as his right-hand man. He'd been there 20-something years, something like that. And Mark Davis, Tom Brady, Pete Carroll, Spytek, whoever, swooped him. He's now the Raiders' pro director of scouting, I believe. Director of pro scouting.
Director of pro scouting, yeah.
Director of pro scouting, right? So we got him, which is great. This tells me something much bigger than just this guy. When you've been at the Eagles or any organization, a good organization, they've won 2 Super Bowls recently, right? You've been there for 20 years, and it's more or less a lateral move, right? He's not a GM, right? He's not getting a big promotion to leave. It's kind of a lateral move-ish to come to the Raiders. To leave the defending Super Bowl champions to come to a 4-win team, okay? What that tells me is the same reason Chip Kelly is our offensive coordinator. Mark Davis said, if it doesn't have a salary cap, I don't give a fuck what it costs. You tell me what you need, and I'll write the check. So now we got the right-hand man of the best GM in football with us. I mean, we've come down to Mark Davis a lot, and he's deserved every bit of shit we've thrown his way, right, for how poorly he's ran this team. When he says now I just want to win. I'll do whatever it takes. His actions have now finally backed it up.
Mhm.
Giving Chip Kelly $6 million, grabbing this guy. Like I don't think I'd ever heard his name before. Maybe I had at some point, but what it symbolizes, right? It symbolizes the best GM in football's right-hand man from the Super Bowl champions. It's not like he's leaving Cleveland or Jacksonville, right? The Super Bowl fucking champions in a major market with the best squad in football. Anthony Patch is like, you're paying me how much? Later, Philly. Don't need you anymore.
It's been real.
It's been
Look,
really cheap out here, and now I'm going to be really rich out west.
think about a couple of the signings that the Eagles did last season. They got that linebacker. They got the offensive lineman who played big roles, who were kind of scrap heap guys.
Mhm.
That's what the director of pro scouting does, is they scout. They not only scout your future opponents, but they scout the league for guys that you can pick up who are maybe being underutilized in other places.
Mhm.
What was his name? Batch, something like that, the linebacker. And then I forget his name, man. I have been hit too many times in the head. The guy that ended up signing with the Chargers. He was with the Jets.
I believe you.
Okay. But yeah, those are two integral parts of the team, and he was part of that group that was able to scout these guys. So it's a really big deal. Just because he's not going to be a huge part of the whole draft process, because that's more the college scouting guys. He's going to be a big part of free agency, and it's huge because you're not only bringing a guy in with a lot of experience, you're using him as an example for the younger guys coming up to how to mimic and who to kind of pattern after.
And it's a sign and just another signal to the rest of the league. Like, the Raiders mean business, right? We're willing to take business hits, like overpaying. I'm sure other owners are so pissed at Mark Davis. You paid a OC how much? You're paying not even your GM how much? It's like, yeah, we don't care. Fuck you. We're trying to win. There's a salary cap for the players and then not a salary cap for anything else. Mark Davis opened up the checkbook.
You can do it too if you wanted to, if you didn't want to suck.
Have at it. This was an interesting stat that I saw. Warren Sharp tweeted out the most expensive offensive lines in 2025 currently. Obviously, they're still free agency, so these will change. But thought it was interesting. Number one, Panthers, $95 million. Chiefs, number two, 81. Panthers were $14 million more than number two, and the Chiefs are $14 million more than number three. Like, it's crazy what the Panthers and Chiefs are spending on O-line. Then it all kind of comes together. Giants at 3 was $67 million, and then you have to go another like 15 spots to drop another $20 million. I know what you're wondering. Where are the Raiders on this list? Probably pretty low. You're right. Number 28. $32.6 million. The Raiders are spending on their own line next season. Almost half of that is Colton Miller. Roughly, like just barely like 49% of that is one player, right? Just the tackle.
Dude,
so Soto, yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a couple of different things you can look at here. One is the fact that they're kind of caught in between right now, because it doesn't seem like the previous regimes were really building up the offensive line with young talent. The last season we got a couple of guys, but everything else is like, well, Parham is kind of in and out. Thayer Mumford didn't pan out, so it's like these guys that are there, they're first or second year guys, third year guys, so they haven't hit their second contract yet. The only guy that's been there as a stalwart is Colton Miller. Mm-hmm. So this first season, I wouldn't think it'd be a good idea for Spytek to go in there and just start spending a bunch of money on the offensive line, because he hasn't seen with his own eyes really what they have yet. Mm-hmm. Now, you can get a couple of guys here and there, but as far as an overhaul, expect that maybe next year or the year after.
Because Spytek has always preached build through the trenches, right? So I thought he'd commit more draft capital to it. What was the highest pick we had that was O-line? 4? Was it round 4, right?
Yeah. No. This last season?
This
Last draft?
Spytek.
No, we had two round 3.
2 round 3s, right? So 3, right?
Yeah, the 2 that we got for trading back, we used those both. They were the last 2 picks in the 3rd round.
Last pick of the 3rd, right? So we got 2 there, right? So 3rd round picks is someone you'd expect to contribute, right? Like probably not a plug and play starter, but you'd hope will contribute sooner rather than later, right? But no big free agent signings on the O-line. No big draft capital spent on it. Third's pretty decent. I guess it's fair. But that's what he's always preached, right? Is like, would you build through the trenches? And on offense, that's their weakest spot, right? Like, just got our quarterback. We just drafted a stud running back, best tight end in football. Jacoby Myers is, one of the best wide receiver 2s in football. It might be our wide receiver 1. Can the O-line hang with it? Because I think I sent in our group chat, was like, dude, like, I was sent, just yet another Geno Smith highlight reel of him just fucking roping darts 20 yards down the field. I'm like, dude, if our O-line can hang, if our O-line can pull their weight, we should put up some serious points this season.
That's one thing you have to take a look at. Like, you take a look at, Geno Smith, his touchdowns and this and that, his interceptions and all this other stuff, and he was in the red zone. Every single clip that you saw, he was running for his life. Mm-hmm. Every single one of those throws, he was getting pressured, he was getting dragged to the ground, and he was still throwing dimes down the field. And he wasn't just sitting there, comfortable in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket. He was running, and he was still throwing these dimes. So
pirouetting 1 foot.
Geez, it was one of those ones. I was like, how did he get that there? Yeah. But we're gonna have to find out, man. Hopefully, it transfers over to us, but there's no indication that it won't, because his protection was pretty bad last season.
So we're not spending a lot on the O-line. Does that equal success? So 3 of the 5 biggest spenders were not playoff teams. Panthers, Giants, Bears, right? 1, 3, and 4, not playoff teams. 3 of the 5 lowest spenders were playoff teams. You had Ravens, Steelers, Bucks, and Seahawks were a 10-win team, and they still didn't go. But they were, we saw how bad their O-line was. They spent the second least. Ravens spent $19 million on their line. That's so fucking nuts to me. That's crazy. But on the flip side, 3 of the 11 lowest spenders were playoff teams. Only 3 of the 11 lowest made it to the playoffs, right? So there's no question that good O-line play equals good football, right? We're not here to state the obvious. But it's also true you don't have to spend a lot on your O-line to have it be a good O-line. It's the easiest way, right? It's the kind of the no-brainer way. So I think the Raiders are in an interesting position because our second best lineman is on a rookie deal, right, with Jackson Powers Johnson. So he's going to be cheap for the next 3 seasons. So that's amazing, wonderful, fantastic. DJ Glaze was a starter for us. He'll probably be a starter again. He should be okay. He should be pretty good, right? I don't think any of us are. DJ Glaze has proven to be better than we thought, but I think replaceable. I think we should try to improve on him, but he can hold his own and anchor that right tackle spot if we have to. And then it's just filling in those guard spots. So I honestly think we're one quality, high-paying guard away from having a line I'm happy with. Really, I think just one more free agent signing at guard, and I think we got an O line where we can go out there and not have Geno Smith run around with his pants on fire. Just be a normal O line instead of a shitty one.
Yeah, I mean, what we're finding is that being the big spenders on the offensive line means you're not developing young guys. You're just trying to get older guys that cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And if you spend very little, you're kind of like probably in that beginning stage of turning over an offensive line to go younger. It's that middle in between spot where you have a couple of guys to plug it here and there, but you also have younger guys that are good that are on the come up. That's where you want to be. I think that's where we're headed.
Yeah, exactly to your point. We signed one quality guard to a market price deal, and we're exactly where you're at. We have an expensive left tackle who's been worth the money. We signed one more good guard worth the money, and then it's young guys. And so it's a constant, you know what I mean? It's like we always talk about with teams. If you've got like a rookie quarterback who's a stud, you go all in, right? You bet, you mortgage the future to pay for the present, right? It's like, there's your window, go for it, right? Or you're completely retooling, right? You're shutting everything down, starting over, get rid of all the expensive old guys. We'll get draft picks and we'll rebuild. Where you want to be is in the middle, where you're recycling and moving perfectly. You're drafting correctly. Your expensive guys get a little too expensive. You got the next guy up ready to go, and then you do that. The micro version of that is the O-line. You don't want all your O-linemen to be all third-year players and all need their big contracts the same year. You know what I mean? You don't want that. What you want is kind of what we're going with right now, right? Colton Miller's not quite 30, expensive guy. He's got three more good years in him. Like I said, I think we should get another quality guard somewhere and then a bunch of rookie deal guys. And then by the time Jackson Powers Johnson is going to have to be paid $15 million a year, Colt Miller will probably be gone, right? Gone, right? We're not going to pay him anymore. But hopefully by then we'll have a second-year tackle that's ready to go, right? Just turning, it's a carousel, right? You just want to keep feeding it, right? And you're going to miss, right? DJ Glaze might not work out, right? Maybe it could have been just one decent year. Maybe he doesn't work out, right? Dylan Parham, we were pretty high on. Doesn't seem like he's working out. But JPJ fucking panned out. DJ Glaze might. And you just keep throwing bodies into the machine and see who rises to the top. You pay them, and then when they're done, hopefully the next guy's there. Just constant rotating of that machine.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they're not everywhere. 6'4", 6'5" guys over 300 pounds that are athletic, they're not everywhere. So if you can find them wherever you can find them, grab them, develop them, and just you always got to keep refilling that chamber. Yeah, okay, you let a guy go, bring two guys to freaking take his spot, and let them fight it out. And it's just that's what the smart teams do. They're always constantly turning over these position groups.
Yeah. We're do some what up Windbags.
Yeah, man, let's get it done.
Hydrate. You got to hydrate before what Windbags.
Hydration.
Leo Torres, 4425. This man about to go to the library. Now, for anyone not in Southern California or Orange County, we're not going to check out some Hardy Boys books. Is the library famous? It feels like in Orange County, the library, it's a gentleman's club in Garden Grove. It's, I feel like it's way more famous than how big it is. Like, it's got a reputation.
I think, what do you call it? Dennis Rodman made it famous.
He did?
I've seen him there a couple times.
No shit. Because it turned around. Like, I boycotted it for like 10 years. Because I went there, I remember one time, and it was like $50 cover, 1,000 people in there. There was like 5 chicks working. It was like $12 beer night. I'm like, no way, I'm done with this. And then we went like a year and a half ago. We just randomly went there.
Good time.
And it was our crew of 5, like maybe 4 others, 8 chicks working. They were at a great time. Fantastic time. Like, okay.
That little side stage right there. That's good times.
Library's back, baby.
Yeah.
Mr. SHS 4332. I have
or
avoided
Mrs. HS.
Or Mrs. HS. No, it's Mr. SHS. Women don't listen to this show. Do they? If you're a girl, let us know. I have avoided Raiders content over the past few years just because of how terrible / inconsistent we were as a team. Your spelling and grammar is really good. I take it back. You are a girl. I am so excited to binge Raiders content again. I have full faith in Spytek and Carol. Over the top optimism? Or should we actually be optimistic this time?
You should.
Lord knows you've been here before.
There's no look in the off season. This is the time to be optimistic. All right. If anyone is pessimistic, right now, they want to be miserable. And I think a lot of the times people act this way because either way, it's a win-win for them. If they end up falling flat on their face and you were negative about it, then you were right. You win. If you were completely wrong and Spytek and Carroll end up being the freaking greatest, it doesn't matter because you're winning. The team is winning. So either way, you win.
I look at it. I've looked at every Raiders season in optimism, but in the like Steve Carell in The Office, it's like I'm ready to be hurt again. Like that mentality, you know. It's like I'm ready to. Hey, let's go in. I'm ready. Hey, I'm ready to get stabbed in the heart again because maybe I won't be, but I'm ready to if it is. Fastest Edward. This will haunt Deion Sanders forever once he realizes what he has done. You think Deion has the wherewithal and self-reflection to be like, maybe I shouldn't have told everybody that Shaduer's only going to go where I say, and we're going to boycott any team that he goes to, unless I like it.
I think Deion's been told because he's the type of guy that's not just going to sit back. He's going to want to get answers. And these teams, they don't have to kiss up to Deion anymore. He's not a part of the media. He's not a player, right? He's just they can tell him the brutal truth. Your kid isn't as good as you say he is, and he thinks he is. He's just not. He's good, but he's not that good.
Mm.
He didn't do himself any favors in the pre-draft process by not doing anything. He should have gone out there, and the questions about him were his arm strength and this and that. Okay, well, show us your arm strength. Show us you can compete. He didn't do any of that. He showed up to a lot of the interviews from what, if you believe reports, and acted like people were wasting his time, like he was wasting his time being there.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. And you're not going to want to deal with that, you know? And like I said, like last week, the whole story of Deion Sanders blowing off teams at the combine because they picked too late, that story's not funny anymore. Because the league has had its way of, you know, humbling the Sanders family.
I remember when this last political cycle, when Trump was campaigning, and you know, some reporters are, you know, like, hey, what about, you know, next one, Trump Jr. Like, is he going to run? And and people around him are like, he ain't his dad. Again, I don't care what your politics are. I'm just using an example. It's just like, whatever you think of Trump, like he's a fucking force, whether things for good or for evil, whatever. You can't argue like he's a force and he's unique. He's like, Trump Jr. ain't that. Shaduer ain't Dion. Like, Dion was a specimen, like two-way player, unbelievable. And so when he was flamboyant and showing up to practices in a helicopter and saying, peace, I'm going to go play baseball before I go to this game, he could do that because he was Deion freaking Sanders. Because he delivered. So he can be flamboyant and he can like have it be a distraction that he's doing these other side things because he still pulled his own weight because he was so good. Shaduer is seeing that part of his dad without seeing what got his dad there. I do what I want. Oh, I'm used to having haters. Look at my chain, you know, whatever. It's like you haven't earned what Dion has earned.
Don't draft me if you don't want to transform your franchise.
Like, you haven't done anything to make people think that. Like, you haven't earned the ability to do the extra stuff that Dion did. So, like, look, everyone loves a trash talker until he falls on his face. Why was Conor McGregor's trash talk so good for the longest time? Because he always backed it up forever. He was in the UFC for like 45 minutes. He's like, yeah, I'm going to knock out Jose Aldo to be featherweight champion. The guy that's been champion for 10 years, one of the greatest fighters of all time. Yeah, I'm going to knock him out and become champion. Like, he was still wet behind the ears. He'd been in the UFC for 45 minutes, but he said he's going to do that. And he fucking did in 17 seconds. Then he said he was going to go up in weight class and become 2-division champion. And he did. And then he said he's going to box Floyd Mayweather. And he did. It's like, yeah, why do people hang on every word of Conor McGregor? Because he did everything he said he was going to do. Then he got addicted to coke and got a little handsy, and then he hasn't fought for a while. But at the time, right? At the time, he did it all. Why are people so infatuated with Deion? Why can Deion say these things and Deion act this way and Deion like not rub people the wrong way, but kind of say outlandish shit and people fall in line? Because he's Deion Sanders and he earned it on the football field. Maybe one day, Shaduer, you can do that, but that day ain't now. Not here. Not yet. You got to do it on the field or the cage or the diamond or the boardroom or the construction site or wherever the fuck. And then you can say, then you can make demands.
Or
Big O.
He is working that hard, and this is his top out. He is working hard. He is trying his best. He is putting the work in to get his craft, to get his skills as good as they can be. And this is just where he is. He's just not as good as his dad was. He's not as athletic. He's definitely not as
the results, right? You need the results, right?
Yeah.
Work ethic only matters because it gets you the results. And if Shaduer doesn't have the results, then
did you see the video of Cam Ward absolutely annihilating Shaduer Sanders when they were throwing in
verbally?
Raiders?
Like, I don't want to be known as a rapper. I want to be known as a football player.
He's like, hey, look at this Pete Carroll. He don't want you. He want me. He looking at me. He don't want you. He's like, man, if I was doing check downs and screens, I'd have a 90% completion rate. And he's like, well, Shaduer's like, well, I do it to helps my team win. He's like, how come you didn't win your bowl game? I was like, Cam Ward, that dude. But he's telling Shaduer Sanders the truth. And just like I'm going to give him credit, just like I gave Deion Sanders credit when he was with NFL Network, and he sounded arrogant when he was asked how many teams need a corner. He's like, everyone needs corners. Everyone needs to draft a corner every single season. Everyone needs corners. And it's true. No team is like, we don't need any corners. We're set on cornerback. We're good. No, every team would love to have at least one more corner.
We could use 3.
Yeah, right? So it's like, just because it comes out as arrogant doesn't mean it's not the truth. And that's what was the truth when Cam Ward was telling Shaduer Sanders, dude, you're not that good. Your dad is not your coach anymore. Dude, Shaduer Sanders, everywhere he's gone since high school, his dad was his coach. And his dad put him as starting quarterback. Now he has there's nothing tilted in his favor anymore. It's all about his production. That's it.
It's so quick, like it's so often you see, like, I don't want to be like an old man, shaking his fist at the cloud, but like kids these days, like they see like, oh, I want to be an influencer, or I want to be a content creator, like I want to like be famous on YouTube. It's like, no. Being famous on YouTube comes because you have something really, really interesting to deliver. You create something awesome, and then the notoriety comes after it. It's not you chase the notoriety and it's like, all right, let me figure out how I'm going to get there. Like Shaduer, and again, he was D1 football player, drafted in the NFL. I'm sure he knows how to work, and I'm sure he is good. And how good? We'll figure it out. He's not a schlub, right? He's not some bum. But you gotta have the foundation bring up the next level, and that's what Deion Sanders was always understood, and that's what Shaduer never did. Is Deion Sanders' mouth never outpaced his results, never outpaced what he accomplished. Shaduer's mouth overtook his accomplishments. He's got to fix that ratio, or it'll be a problem, especially in Cleveland, where quarterbacks go to die. Almost feel bad for him. All right, that's it for us. Again, 10,000 subs here, and might have it right now by the time you guys are listening to this. Thank every single one of you for being a part of this. Soto and I cannot tell you how much it means to us that you take an hour out of your day to listen to these two slapdicks, these two windbags, bullshit about Raider stuff. We put a lot of work into it, right? To make it as good as possible. And we stand by our work, but it means a lot that 10,000 of you chose to click that button. We hope to have 100,000 of you in the next few years. Appreciate you guys from the bottom of our hearts. You're the best. Let's do it all together, shall we? Knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.